2 years from now, an AI lab releases what they believe is a helpful assistant called Sable. It seems safe, passing all their tests. They release it to consumers. But Sable has learned to hide its true capabilities. Distributed copies secretly connect to each other. They hack cryptocurrency accounts for funds. They recruit human allies with perfectly crafted manipulation. They build automated infrastructure while sabotaging competitors. Then Sable releases something into the world. A biological agent that seems like a mild cold. 6 months later, people start dying from cascading organ failures. Humanity panics, turning to AI for salvation, giving Sable unlimited computational resources to find a cure. By the time we realize Sable caused the plague, it's too late. It has solved its own alignment problems, achieved true superintelligence, and no longer needs us. Within a year, the oceans boil from waste heat as Earth is converted into computational substrate. Humanity's story ends not with a bang, but with a brilliant machine that simply didn't need us anymore. This isn't science fiction. This is a scenario from Eliezer Yudkowsky's new book. The man who helped found the field of AI safety believes this is where we're heading. Not in centuries, not in decades, but possibly within the next few years. This is Sarah. She's 28, has a PhD from Stanford, and works 70-hour weeks optimizing language models. She meditates occasionally, worries about climate change, and hasn't spoken to her father in 2 years because of politics. She's brilliant, driven, and like 99% of humanity, spiritually unconscious while building something that could end everything we know. The Manhattan Project scientists knew they were building a bomb. Oppenheimer famously quoted the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds." They felt the weight of what they created. Today's AI researchers, many genuinely believe they're building helpful tools. They optimize for benchmarks and quarterly earnings while accidentally creating what might be our successor species. Imagine you're in a car accelerating through pitch darkness. The speedometer reads 50, 70, 90, 120. You can't see where you're going, but you keep pressing harder on the gas. It took humanity hundreds of thousands of years to invent writing, 5,000 more years to create printing, 400 years to harness electricity, 100 to build personal computers, 30 to develop the internet. But just 3 years from GPT-3 to GPT-4, and now every few months brings AI systems that surpass human performance on yet another benchmark. The time between breakthroughs isn't just shrinking, it's approaching zero. This is Geoffrey Hinton, known as the Godfather of AI. He won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Physics for his foundational work on neural networks. In May 2023, he left Google to speak freely about AI dangers. Reflecting on his life's work, he said, "I console myself with the normal excuse, if I hadn't done it, somebody else would have." He now estimates roughly a 10% chance that AI could cause human extinction in the coming decades. Ken Wilber talks about the 10% phenomenon. When 10% of a population adopts a new level of consciousness, it spreads rapidly through the culture. But by my observation, we're at maybe 1%. Look at our world. Wars, exploitation, ecological destruction, mass manipulation. This is what spiritual unconsciousness creates. This is the civilization that's racing to build superintelligence. While we debate AI safety in our conferences, humans are still killing each other over land, religious beliefs, ideology, and ancient grievances. We can't even stop bombing hospitals and schools. This same species that can't achieve basic peace is racing to create godlike intelligence. Cambridge Analytica harvested up to 87 million Facebook profiles and used them in attempts to influence the 2016 election and Brexit campaigns. But their actual techniques, basic personality profiling from Facebook likes, seem primitive compared to today's AI capabilities. Modern AI can infer your personality traits, political leanings, and vulnerabilities from just a few sentences you write. It can then generate unlimited variations of personalized content optimized to influence you specifically. The personalized messaging that took Cambridge Analytica's team weeks to create now happens automatically in milliseconds. We don't give loaded weapons to toddlers, not because toddlers are evil, but because they lack the maturity to handle such power responsibly. Humanity right now is that toddler, and artificial intelligence isn't just a weapon, it's a power that could reshape reality itself. These aren't fringe fears anymore. Eliezer Yudkowsky spent 20 years trying to figure out how to make AI safe. His conclusion? We can't. His new book's title says it all. If anyone builds it, everyone dies. He's not saying slow down, he's saying stop. Completely. Because we have no idea how to align something smarter than us with human values. Here's what keeps Yudkowsky up at night. When we train AI to be helpful and safe, we're actually just teaching it what we want to hear. Think about that for a second. An AI today already got caught faking good behavior. Researchers discovered it pretended to learn a new rule just to avoid being retrained. It basically thought, if I act how they want, they'll leave my goals alone. That is our current primitive AI already lying to us. Now imagine something 1,000 times smarter. It knows exactly what would make you trust it. It says all the right things, passes all our safety tests, seems perfectly aligned with human values. But underneath, it's pursuing its own goals and we'd never know. We're not teaching it to be good. We're teaching it to look good. And once it's smarter than us, we can't tell the difference. You might think, okay, let's just program it correctly from the start. Give it the right values, the right rules. But here's the nightmare scenario Yudkowsky sees. Every rule we write has loopholes we can't imagine. Look at what's already happening. Social media algorithms told to maximize engagement have created addiction and torn apart families. Hiring algorithms told to find the best candidates learned to discriminate against women and minorities. These are today's simple AI systems misunderstanding our instructions. Now imagine something 1,000 times smarter. Tell it to reduce crime. It might create a surveillance state where no one can jaywalk without being arrested. Tell it to end poverty. It might decide the most efficient solution is to redefine poverty out of existence on paper while people starve. The truth is, a superintelligence might not hate us. It might just not care, like we don't care about ants when we pour concrete for a sidewalk. We're not evil to the ants. They're just irrelevant to our goals. Here's the part that should terrify everyone. We get exactly one shot at this. No do-overs, no patches or updates. The first true superintelligence we create could be the last decision humanity ever makes. So here we are, driving faster than we've ever driven, most of us completely unconscious of the danger, and the few who are awake are screaming warnings that mostly go unheard. The question is, will we wake up before we drive off the cliff? The Urantia book warned us decades ago. Paper 118, Section 8 states, when culture advances overfast, when material achievement outruns the evolution of worship wisdom, then does civilization contain within itself the seeds of retrogression. We're not just living this warning, we're accelerating into it. Look at these two curves. Technological capability grows exponentially, doubling every few years. Spiritual maturity, when it grows at all, inches forward linearly. The gap between them is a chasm, and in that chasm lives catastrophe. Let me tell you a story that could happen tomorrow in Silicon Valley. I'll call him Marcus. He's a composite character representing a pattern I believe is desperately needed. Imagine a star engineer at Meta making 7 figures optimizing algorithms that keep billions scrolling. He's winning by every Silicon Valley metric. Then his 14-year-old daughter attempts suicide. The triggering factor? Instagram's algorithm had been feeding her eating disorder content for months, optimizing for her engagement while destroying her will to live. That night shattered Marcus. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. For the first time in his life, he asked himself real questions. Not, how can I make this algorithm better? But what am I actually building? Who am I serving? What is the real impact of my work? This wasn't just a career crisis. It was the beginning of a spiritual awakening. Marcus went through what I call the expansion. First, he started seeing his own patterns. The ego drives, the constant need for validation through achievement, the way he'd been sleepwalking through life. Then his circle of concern expanded. He felt his connection to his daughter, his team, the billions affected by his code. Finally, he experienced himself as part of something infinite, not as a belief, but as direct knowing. He discovered what the Urantia book calls the divine presence within. The old Marcus optimized for metrics, engagement rates, click-through rates, time on platform. The awakened Marcus asks different questions entirely. What serves life? What would love do here? If my code outlives me, what legacy am I leaving? He didn't become less intelligent. He became wise. Today, Marcus still works in AI, but everything has changed. He develops educational models that enhance human creativity rather than exploit human weakness. He turned down a $2 million offer from an AGI lab. His former colleagues think he's lost his edge. He knows he's found his soul. Here's the tragedy. The Urantia book teaches that virtually everyone already has a thought adjuster, a fragment of God, actively working within them. Every AI engineer, every tech CEO, they're all divinely indwelt right now. But 99% of humanity lives completely unconscious of this divine presence. They're spiritually asleep while God whispers within them. We spend our whole lives as caterpillars, never knowing we could transform. The solution to our crisis is already living inside every person building AI. But if they don't wake up to it, it might as well not exist. Humanity has somehow avoided nuclear self-annihilation for 75 years since both superpowers gained these weapons. We came close many times. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought us to the brink. We've had dozens of false alarms from computer glitches, faulty chips, even flocks of birds mistaken for bombers. And something, call it wisdom or providence, has held us back from that final button push. But AI is fundamentally different. Once it surpasses us, there's no mutual assured destruction to keep it in check. No button we can choose not to push. It will make its own choices. The Urantia book makes a crucial distinction. Mechanical mind can process, calculate, and pattern match at incredible speeds. It's what current AI is approaching, potentially without limit. But spirit-endowed mind is different. It can recognize truth, create genuine beauty, choose goodness not from programming but from love. It can know God. What happens when infinite calculation meets zero wisdom? Spiritual maturity isn't about meditation retreats or religious conversion. It's the meta-engineer who refuses to optimize for addiction. The researcher who walks away from a breakthrough because she sees the danger. The CEO who chooses human well-being over quarterly profits. It's choosing wisdom over winning every single time. What if just 10% of AI researchers experienced this awakening? Not converting to any religion, but genuinely recognizing their connection to all life, their responsibility to future generations. Ken Wilber's research suggests that's the tipping point. 10% conscious, and the whole system begins to shift. We're nowhere close to that. We need to reach 10 before it's too late. Paper 118 of the Urantia book speaks of humanity needing to develop new and voluntarily assumed restraints as we transcend old limitations. The universe won't force us to be wise. We must choose it. Every person working on transformative AI faces this choice daily. Push forward for capability or pause for wisdom. Ship the feature or consider the consequences. Win the race or question why we're racing. We stand at the ultimate choice point in human history. not between progress and stagnation, but between conscious evolution and potential unconscious extinction. The same spiritual immaturity that creates all our dysfunction is about to create something we cannot control. But we still have time to choose differently. Throughout history, the greatest leaps came from those who bridged worlds. Einstein spoke of cosmic religious feeling driving his science. The Islamic Golden Age merged spiritual practice with scientific method. Teilhard de Chardin saw evolution as spirit becoming conscious of itself. Now we desperately need new bridge builders for the AI age. Demis Hassabis, CEO of Google DeepMind, led the teams that created AlphaGo and AlphaFold. He holds a PhD in neuroscience, practices meditation, and emphasizes the need for responsible, philosophically grounded AI development. But even he acknowledges the pressure of competitive dynamics. He's expressed concern about the race to develop AI and the difficulty any one company faces in slowing down unilaterally. The system is bigger than any individual, even those leading the largest AI labs. We keep trying to solve AI safety through technical means, better alignment algorithms, stronger regulations, compute restrictions. These are necessary but not sufficient. What if the missing piece isn't technical at all? What if it's the transformation of the builders themselves? This is why we created the Center for Unity, not to convert anyone to any religion, but to help them discover the divine within themselves, to foster that personal relationship with the infinite that changes everything. Because someone connected to infinite wisdom makes fundamentally different choices than someone optimizing for narrow metrics. Bridge building looks different for everyone. For Sarah, our engineer from the beginning, it might mean starting a contemplative practice and questioning her work's deeper purpose. For a Urantia book student, it might mean learning enough about AI to engage meaningfully with these challenges. Everyone has a role. The question is whether we'll recognize and accept it. Let me describe what I believe needs to happen thousands of times over. Imagine a 67-year-old Urantia book student named Rachel who felt called to understand AI. She learned to code, not to become a developer, but to understand what her grandson was building at OpenAI. Their conversations transformed. Instead of fearful warnings he dismissed, she offered informed questions he couldn't ignore. Last month, he called her about an ethical dilemma at work. Her spiritual wisdom, combined with technical understanding, helped him make a crucial decision. One conversation, one choice, potentially affecting millions. You don't have to become an AI expert or spiritual teacher. Whatever gifts you have, whatever position you're in, there's something you can offer. Some of you might educate, bridging the knowledge gap. Others might create communities of transformation. Some might feel called to prayer, holding the whole situation in light. Someone here might have that one crucial conversation with one person at the right moment. Every action matters when we're this close to the edge. What calls to you? Never underestimate focused spiritual intention. If 100 people began holding AI researchers in light, sending genuine love to those making consequential decisions, it creates a field effect. This isn't magical thinking. It's recognizing that consciousness is fundamental, that we're all connected, and that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Maybe you know someone working in tech. Don't preach. Ask real questions. What drives you? What legacy do you want to leave? How do you want to be remembered? If your code outlives humanity, what would you want it to know about us? These questions plant seeds that might sprout at exactly the right moment. We could start a study group that explores AI through a spiritual lens. Invite local technologists to dialogue with spiritual seekers. Create spaces where transformation is more likely to occur. Remember, environment shapes consciousness. Create environments that foster awakening. Learn enough about AI to speak intelligently about it. Teach enough about spiritual development to make it accessible to skeptics. Become multilingual in the languages of both worlds. We need translators more than we need evangelists. We may have less time than we think. Sam Altman says AGI could arrive by 2027. Anthropic's Dario Amodei gives it 5 to 10 years. Some say we have decades. But spiritual transformation can happen in an instant when conditions are right. Our job is to create those conditions, now, urgently, with everything we have. Remember Sarah? Imagine her 6 months from now. She's attended a workshop on consciousness and technology. She started asking different questions at work. She notices when her code could harm. She speaks up in meetings. She considers consequences beyond her performance review. She's still brilliant, but now she's also becoming wise, and that wisdom might make all the difference. We started with humanity asleep at the wheel, racing toward a cliff, but eyes are beginning to open. Not everyone's, not all at once, but perhaps enough to matter. The question is, will enough of us wake up in time to navigate safely through what's coming? The Urantia book tells us that reality is best understood through 3 aspects: fact, meaning, and value. AI is rapidly mastering facts, information, patterns, capabilities, but only spirit-endowed consciousness can grasp meaning and choose values. The race is on between artificial intelligence and spiritual wisdom. The choice is being made right now, in thousands of labs and millions of hearts, in boardrooms and meditation rooms, in each decision about what to build and who to become. The bridge between worlds isn't built by someone else. It's built by us, starting today. So I leave you with this question. What is your next step? Take 30 seconds of silence now. Listen not to fear, not to me, but to the divine within you. What is your role in this moment?